Hi everyone. I thought about calling this Wednesday Wisdom. It's an opportunity for me to share about something I learned that might help you too. So I don't know how many of these wisdom days I will have, but I have a doozy one for you today. What happened was I had a certificate of deposit with my financial institution that was for a year. It matured on January 2nd. I'm going to try to make a long story short. I went to where we have our other investments through like older 401ks that I rolled over when I changed companies and things like that. And I asked them to help me move that CD from that financial institution to the one that has my rollover 401ks, IRAs, savings, things like that. And we went ahead and signed the form and the paperwork. They faxed it over on December 28th. On January 2nd, the day it was maturing, we called on a three-way call, so they knew the financial advisor was on with me. And it was a recorded line that we wanted to confirm they had the fax and that they were not to renew that CD because we were taking that money out. The rep said, "Not a problem. I see we have a fax. Because of the holidays, it might take them several days to get to it." They never told us what I learned later, which is that that financial institution did not send monies to a third party and that they would need to issue me a corporate check. Never was that discussed. 11 days later, I contacted, "Where's my money? How come my financial advisor doesn't have it yet?" And I was told, "Oh, no, you need a form. We'll send you a form." Got the form, sent it back, get a call. "Oh, you didn't fill out the second page that said, do you want it regular mail or expedited for a $20 fee?" And so I call them, and that's when it went wrong. They told me, "Oh no, this auto renewed." No, you had instruction not to do that. So long story short is I escalated up the chain of command, and they were holding a hard corporate line. She even listened to the calls on January 2nd and 13th and told me that yes, their employee should have told me on January 2nd it would be a corporate check and she should have been able to handle it then. Also on the 13th, they sent me the wrong form. It was not a correct form, so it wasn't even valid. It was for some other banking requirement, not for a certificate of deposit. So they have training issues. The only way they would give me my money was to charge me a early cancellation fee because it had auto renewed. Why would I have contacted them on December 28th with that form and January 2nd when it was up for renewal if I didn't want it to renew? But they would not take accountability for their employee. I don't want to be ugly, so I'm just going to say their employees needed appropriate training. Nobody's perfect. They're human. But what got to me is I'm not going to pay $260 penalty for your employee mistakes. They made me mad. Part of being organized with your paperwork, with reminders on your calendar, is so you don't lose money and you're being a good steward to money that you have worked hard for, that, thank you God for my job, thank you God for a living, but I'm not going to pay a penalty for your mistake. So I wrote to the executive offices. "I'm sorry, ma'am, we have done nothing wrong," was their response. But I'm not taking no for an answer. And so all of that to say, yes, they're a huge company. We are just customers. But when you're right, you need to be tenacious and you need to stand up for yourself. So I went to the Better Business Bureau. and I filed a complaint. They responded. I rejected their response. Here's all my facts. They responded again, denying again. I rejected their response. So the Better Business Bureau has it as an unresolved dispute. So that will be on their scoring. I don't know how they do that, but it's going to at least be accounted for. And I'm sorry, they still have my money. They held my money for 2 months longer than they should have, and they shouldn't have penalized me. So the state of Texas regulates banks through the state comptroller's office, and you can go and file a complaint there. And I did. Guess what I got in the mail yesterday? This is May. I should have had my money in early January without penalty. So I got the penalty that they charged me to take my money out. So all of that to say, Wednesday wisdom is, I understand the customer's not always right, but when the facts were clear cut, that's a lot of money to not fight for. So don't give up. Well, that wasn't a fun story to tell. Y'all know I like to laugh, but this was not fun. But I feel finally they stepped up and did the right thing, but it took going to a regulatory organization to make them do that. So all that to say, even when you do all the things right, sometimes things can go wrong, but you still fight for yourself. That was longer than I planned it to be. Can I just share one other bit with you? I was feeling a little defeated, a little down, and I had my counseling today. It's grief counseling, but also like pain management counseling with my neck. And I've been struggling bad. And like I told her, I have windows and pockets of joy, but a lot of times I can't find the joy. And I even feel like I mentally cannot keep up with things. And she helped me to get back that confidence and fighting spirit to stand up for myself and fight for my health. All this time I'm thinking, well, gabapentin, I have to take gabapentin for the nerve pain that's still left in my neck and a new bulging disc. No, I don't. I left that appointment feeling so much more like myself and confident. I left that appointment, picked up the phone, called my doctor's office and said, I cannot function like this. If I take a whole gabapentin at night, I am groggy, I am brain foggy, I don't feel like I can do my job as well, and honestly, it's making me feel stupid. And I'm not a stupid woman. And if I cut the pill in half, then I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning from pain, which is what happened to me last night because I took half a pill because I couldn't handle being groggy like I was the previous day, all day long. So they have got to figure out something else for me because this is not working. So be your own advocate. If you feel like you're settling, challenge them to give you another solution. Thank y'all so much. I hope this helps somebody. I hope it helps you. I needed the boost of confidence. I needed that with my counselor. I didn't need it with the financial institution because I was going to get my money back. But sometimes you just need to be reminded by others to advocate for yourself. I hope you have a great rest of your day. I'm going to close like my dad always closed his voicemail messages. Bye for now.